Representing an evolution from the clone troopers that fought for the Republic in the Clone Wars, the Galactic Empire came to rely upon their stormtroopers to serve as the backbone of the Imperial military. But the evolution from clone trooper to Imperial Stormtrooper didn't stop there, as the First Order came to develop their own stormtroopers, which again drew upon the heritage and designs of both the clones and the Imperial Stormtroopers. But what were the similarities and differences between the Stormtroopers of the First Order and those comprising the ranks of the Empire's Stormtrooper Corps? In this video expose, I will compare the First Order Stormtroopers with the Imperial Stormtroopers in regards to their armor, weapons, and training. Let's start with those of the First Order. Expected to devote their loyalty to and serve the First Order, their Stormtroopers were trained from birth to achieve this singular purpose. Recognizing that the Stormtroopers that defended the Galactic Empire were lacking in both skill and ability due to inconsistent Imperial Academy standards, the First Order relied on a much more regimented program in an attempt to ensure that their Stormtroopers met a standard of excellence. This was a necessary requirement, given that the First Order didn't have the sheer number of available troops at its disposal that the Empire had. Therefore, the First Order sought to create what were essentially super soldiers, who benefited from a far more well-rounded education and training in the art of combat. To ensure that these soldiers were absolutely loyal to the First Order, they underwent behavioral and personality conditioning as part of their training regiment, which attempted to control their psychological development by being subjected to a large degree of pro-imperial propaganda. First Order Stormtrooper training focused on improvisation, guerrilla tactics, and counterinsurgency operations. In doing so, during the rigorous combat exercises that were undertaken by these Stormtroopers, which included live-fire exercises and sparring practices, they were encouraged to rely upon improvisation and were given a large degree of autonomy in their battlefield choices. In addition to their combat training, First Order Stormtroopers were also trained in medical techniques, thereby allowing them to treat the injuries of their fellow soldiers on the battlefield. Finally, the Stormtroopers of the First Order were meticulously trained in close combat, a necessity amongst these soldiers, given that the regime ruled over its citizens with cruel authority. As a means of suppressing rebellious citizens, First Order Stormtroopers utilized their riot control training and tactics to ensure that these citizens were battered into submission. To assist in these efforts, the Stormtroopers were outfitted with a Z6 riot control baton, as well as a lightweight riot shield. The battle armor worn by First Order Stormtroopers was much stronger than that of its predecessors, with the regime's high-ranking officials holding it in high regard. The armor also improved upon earlier models by allowing for greater flexibility. However, with this added strength came increased weight, and the need to try to make sure that the armor worn by the soldiers of the First Order was not too heavy. To keep the armor's weight down, the helmets worn by these Stormtroopers were not outfitted with advanced imaging gear. However, the helmets were equipped with advanced communications and targeting systems, in addition to integral polarized lenses, to assist the Stormtroopers on the battlefield. Further, although these helmets did have their own internal filtration system, the helmet could only filter out smoke, thereby requiring an external filter system to prevent the inhalation of dangerous toxins. To allow their Stormtroopers to be outfitted with state-of-the-art weaponry, the First Order had to deal with and work around the treaty restrictions put in place by the New Republic that prevented the major corporations of the galaxy from selling weapons to the First Order. To get around these restrictions, two weapons manufacturers, Blastech Industries and Mare Sun Munitions, created a subsidiary named Sun Blast Corporation that operated within the territory controlled by the First Order. This new subsidiary manufactured the majority of weapons adopted by the First Order, which came to be known for their precision, rugged designs, and efficient energy cells for longer use. Among these weapons was the E11 Blaster Rifle, which served as the standard-issue blaster for the Stormtroopers of the First Order. The E11 had a capacity of 500 shots and a range of 300 meters. Other features included an adjustable electroscope and a magnetomic adhesion grip with an integrated power feed indicator. Sun Blast Corporation also provided First Order Stormtroopers with the SE-44C blaster pistol, which came with a heat-dispersing barrelhead and the added benefit of a vibrating pulsar that warned the Stormtrooper of low ammunition. An evolution of the clone troopers that fought for the Republic during the Clone Wars, the Galactic Empire trained its Imperial Stormtroopers to become the new, intimidating face of the Empire. Looking to instill fierce loyalty and subservience to the Imperial government, the Empire started training cadets in its academies as young as 13 years of age, hoping to strip them of their individuality and inject a determined form of patriotism. Having undergone years of intense mental and physical conditioning, cadets would emerge from these academies as loyal soldiers and servants to the Empire. Imperial Stormtroopers underwent rigorous training programs and were highly trained. Among other skills, they were trained in blaster fire, how to pilot Imperial walkers, and were instilled with a degree of ruthlessness that trained them to leave fallen comrades on the battlefield and push forward no matter what they were facing from their enemies. Therefore, Stormtroopers of the Galactic Empire were molded into highly trained and fiercely loyal soldiers that could be utilized in the efforts of the Imperial military. The battle armor worn by Imperial Stormtroopers lacked the customization that was present in the armor worn by the Republic's clone troopers, as the Empire looked to mask the gender, species, and galactic origins of its soldiers. In relation to the armor worn by First Order Stormtroopers, Imperial Stormtrooper armor was weaker and could be breached by a well-placed blaster shot, thereby making the soldiers who wore the standard kit particularly vulnerable. However, in addition to the standard trooper armor, the Stormtrooper Corps of the Empire developed mission and theater-specific armor, along with additional armor for its specialist ranks, such as the Death Troopers. These more advanced and elite units were equipped with armor that was not as vulnerable in relation to the standard armor. The helmet worn by the Stormtroopers of the Galactic Empire was outfitted with a wide array of advanced electronics that helped to relay important battlefield information to the soldier. It included polarized lenses with integral image intensifiers, and a Comtech Series 4 speaker that utilized 3-phase sonic filtering for clear sound, as well as a multi-frequency targeting and acquisition system that produced an in-lens display that could be used by the trooper. In some ways, these features were more advanced than those of the First Order Stormtroopers. However, like the First Order Stormtrooper battle armor, Imperial Stormtroopers had their own internal filtration system, but to achieve complete protection against harmful toxins, they had to attach an external atmospheric tank. Before Blastech Industries created their subsidiary with Mare Sun to outfit the First Order with their weaponry, Blastech was the primary supplier of small arms for the Galactic Empire. Imperial Stormtroopers were equipped with the E11 Blaster Rifle as their standard issue weapon. Based upon the DC-15A blaster used by the clone troopers, the E11 combined deadly firepower and extraordinary range, and provided Stormtroopers with a capacity of 100 shots with a standard power cell, and 500 shots when using plasma cartridges. Imperial Stormtroopers were also outfitted with another creation of Blastech Industries, the DLT-19 Heavy Blaster Rifle. The DLT-19 provided an impressively high rate of fire and could deal a significant amount of damage at long range. So there we have it, the similarities and differences between the First Order Stormtroopers and the Imperial Stormtroopers in regards to their armor, weapons, and training. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for absolute loyalty.